Okay, let's get right into it. If you're looking at education loans in India right now, you're basically staring down two very different paths backed by the government. We're going to break down West Bengal student credit card and the central government's PM Vidyalaxmi scheme. By the time we're done, you'll have a super clear idea of which one is the right fit for you. So first up, why are we even having this conversation? Well, take a look at this. The cost of, pretty much everything is going up by about 6% a year. But education costs? They're climbing at a whopping 12%. It's literally getting more expensive twice as fast as anything else. That means for a lot of families, getting a loan isn't really a choice anymore. It's become an absolute necessity. And this is exactly who both of these loan schemes are trying to help. They call it the missing middle. These are all the students out there who, aren't eligible for those big need-based scholarships, but their families also don't have the kind of property or assets that a commercial bank would demand as collateral. Both of these schemes are trying to fix that exact problem. But, and this is the key part, they do it in completely opposite ways. And that gets us to the real core of this whole thing. This isn't just about comparing interest rates and loan amounts. What we're really looking at are two totally different philosophies about what education funding should even be. Should it be a social safety net for everyone, or is it more like an investment in the market? Here's probably the easiest way to frame it. The West Bengal scheme is like a safety net for all. It's a universal approach, almost like a welfare program for education. The central government scheme, that's a bet on the best. It's driven by merit and the market, and it really hones in on students who get into those top-tier colleges. Just keep those two ideas in your head, safety net versus a bet, as we dig into the details. So let's get to the first big question you're probably asking. Can I even apply for this? The eligibility rules are where you start to see these two philosophies really clash. Okay, this table really lays it all out. West Bengal scheme, you need to have lived there for 10 years. It's for its own residents. The central scheme is open to any Indian citizen, anywhere. But then look at the age limit. West Bengal goes all the way up to 40 years old, which is amazing for adult learners or people looking to make a career change. The central scheme is really aimed at younger students, fresh out of school. And the big one, income. West Bengal's is universal. Doesn't matter what your family earns, you get the same deal. The central scheme is stratified, so the benefits and subsidies you get totally depend on your family's income bracket. And this right here is another huge difference. What schools are actually covered? West Bengal's scheme is like this giant open umbrella. It covers pretty much any recognized institution. And get this, it also covers coaching for competitive exams like UPSC, plus funding for studying abroad. It's incredibly broad. The PM Vidyalaxmi scheme is the opposite. It's an exclusive filter. It is only for students admitted to the top 860 government-ranked institutions in India. If your college isn't on that specific list, you just can't get the loan. Simple as that. All right, let's talk about the money, because at the end of the day, this is probably the most important slide in this whole breakdown. It's not just about the percentage rate you see on paper, it's about how that interest is calculated. We are talking about the massive, and I mean massive, difference between simple and compound interest. Okay, let's use a standard 10-lakh loan as our example. With the West Bengal scheme, you're looking at 4% simple interest. Over the full 15 years, your total repayment is 16 lakh rupees. That's your original 10-lakh principal plus a flat 6 lakh in interest over the entire period. It's clean, it's predictable. Now let's look at the PM Vidyalakshmi scheme for that exact same 10-lakh loan. Assuming you're not in the lowest income bracket, you're getting a market rate of around 8.5%, but it's compound interest. That means interest is piling up on top of interest, especially during the years you're studying and not paying it back. That's how the total repayment balloons to roughly 25 lakh rupees. So just let that sink in. The difference between these two final repayment amounts is almost 9 lakh rupees. That's the real cost, or the real savings, of your decision. We're talking about a difference that's literally the cost of a brand new car. It is a huge deal. Okay, enough with the abstract numbers and percentages. Let's make this really practical. We're going to walk through a few real-world student profiles and see how all these rules actually play out. Let's find out which loan would fit you. First up, let's talk about the aspiring civil servant. This person has already graduated, and now they need about 2 lakh rupees to join a good coaching center in Kolkata to prep for the UPSC exams. For this student, the verdict is crystal clear. The PM Vidyalakshmi scheme doesn't fund coaching centers, what some people call the shadow education sector. But the West Bengal scheme, it actually calls out competitive exam coaching as a valid expense. So for this student, the WBSC is literally the only government option on the table.
All right, our next persona is the student who's just landed an amazing admission to a university over in the UK. They've got the offer, but now they need the funds to make that dream happen.
And once again, this is a really simple choice. The PM Vidyalaxmi scheme is strictly for studying inside India, period. The West Bengal scheme, on the other hand, is one of the very few government programs that will give you a collateral-free loan of up to 10 lakh as a starter fund for studying overseas. It's a game changer.
Okay, now for a super common scenario. We've got a sharp student from a middle-class background who worked hard and got into a top-tier national college, something like NIT Durgapur. Now they're technically eligible for both schemes. So what's the right move?
This is where it gets really fascinating. You'd think that this student, a meritorious student in an elite college, is the perfect target for the PM Vidyalaxmi scheme, right? And they are, but the math just doesn't lie. Over the long run, that 4% simple interest from the WBCC is just fundamentally, unshakably cheaper than the roughly 9% compound interest from the central scheme. From a purely financial standpoint, WBCC is the smarter choice.
Finally, let's look at a student with a really big funding requirement. They've gotten into a private medical college. It's NIRF ranked, so it's a good school, but the total cost is an eye-watering 50 lakh rupees.
And here, finally, is the one critical scenario where the central scheme is not just the better choice, it's the only choice. The West Bengal scheme has a strict, hard cap at 10 lakh rupees. It's just not enough. PM Vidyalaxmi, however, is built on need-based finance and has no official upper limit. For these really high-cost professional degrees, it's the only path forward. So after all of that, let's just boil it all down into a super simple decision guide. Think of this as your final checklist to figure out which one of these paths is the right one for you. You should definitely choose the West Bengal student credit card if your #1 priority is paying back the least amount of money possible. That 4% simple interest is just unbeatable. It's also your go-to option if your college isn't on that elite government list, if you need cash for coaching or studying abroad, or if you're an older student over 30 who's looking to upskill. And on the other hand, you should choose the PM Vidyalaxmi scheme if one of three things is true. 1. You need way more than 10 lakh rupees. 2. You're from a very low-income family and you've gotten into a top college, which means you'll qualify for that zero-interest subsidy period. Or 3. Well, you're not a resident of West Bengal. For those specific cases, it's the obvious choice. And that brings us right back to where we started, to that final big-picture question. What should government support for education actually look like? Should it be a universal right, a safety net that tries to catch everyone? Or should it be a targeted investment, a bet on who we think are the best and brightest? These two schemes give two very different answers. Which one is better for the country? Well, that's a whole other debate. But for now, at least you know which one is right for you.